Ay, se abrió el Minecraft. Miremos. Es de juegos. Los mejores juegos de todos los tiempos. Según Maximilian Dude.
Let me start reevaluating this a little bit. This is now really difficult. Okay, because now we're getting into cutting time. Yeah, I'd say remake is close to like, you know, top 30, top 25, but we're not really worried about that right now. Here's where I got to start like moving some stuff. Let's focus on these top two rows up here, right? Focus on these top two rows.
Okay,
Put number one where it should be. Final Fantasy VII is number one. Let's put number two where two should be. Bloodborne is number two. Fighting games, though. Third Strike is number two. And there.
Espérate. Yo no pondría Final Fantasy VII en el primer lugar por nada. Entiendo lo que significa para, para un montón de gente, para los RPGs y etcétera, 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 pero Final Fantasy VII no es el mejor de todos los tiempos. Ni siquiera creo que sea el mejor Final Fantasy de todos, ¿ok? Pero creo que sí, probablemente es el más importante de todos los Final Fantasy, pero no creo que sea el mejor. Pero entiendo, el primero no lo pondría, pero sí lo pondría en el top 10 probablemente. Difiero contigo, Maximilian. Street Fighter 3 Third Strike es el que de los que menos he jugado. Pondría Street Fighter 2 antes que Street Fighter 3 por lo que significó. ¿Qué es el más importante? ¿No? Ahí sí, por importancia sí lo pondría, pero me contradigo un poco, ¿no? Entonces, Third Strike sí es el mejor. Street Fighter, sí lo es. Street Fighter, sí. Debería estar el Street Fighter 3 sí en los mejores juegos de la historia, sí, por supuesto.
If I take into consideration
Y
fighting
Bloodborne, no
games
digamos,
into like a
Bloodborne
top
es
10 situation, that sadly
probablemente lo mejor
knocks
que ha
out
hecho From
Bloodborne.
Software.
And if there's also fighting games in this list, holy moly, this is really hard. You know why? Because guess where my brain goes for number 4? Crazy monkey brain goes for my number 4 favorite game of all time.
Ok.
Oh shit.
¿Qué?
Yeah.
Fantasy Star Online, no lo he jugado.
Hey, what are you?
No he
What
escuchado
is-
muy
what
buenas
is the
cosas de él.
fight
Ni malas,
of
o sea,
your
no he escuchado de él.
nebulous being? Yeah, that's Final Fantasy VII, Third Strike, Bloodborne, and PSO. And then what comes after that? Killer Instinct, brother.
Sí, Killer Instinct es genial.
Oh shit.
Killer
Oh,
Instinct me
shit.
encanta.
So it's like normal game, fighting game, a couple of normal games, fighting game, monkey brain kicking in. And now the big question, and this is a tough one, dude. Which is better, Metal Gear Solid or Resident Evil 4? I hate this shit. Being the
Resident Evil
product of
4.
two
Para mí, lo
divorced
que es que
parents and having
Metal
to
Gear
choose
no,
between your mom and dad.
no lo agarré en su
This
lugar.
is bullshit, dude.
Tampoco el
No one
Resident
should
Evil,
have to do
pero
this. It's RE4. Yeah, there we go.
Sí.
I had to think about it a little bit. It's RE4. Metal Gear Solid is truly incredible, but RE4 is more a more fun game. Metal Gear Solid is incredible for what it is. It's a cinematic game where you don't have many cinematic games. It was the beginning of cinematic games, right? In terms of like raw gameplay and what it is, it never was something that really lined up with me because it was the beginning of stealth games, right? But it was like one of the first big stealth games there kind of ever was, so you sort of appreciate about it. It was a sandbox game where it's like you can make anything happen in this shit. You can fuck around with the guards and do all this crazy shit, put C4 on his back, yada yada yada, all this crazy stuff. And I do appreciate that about it, but RE4 is incredible. It has almost no
Resident Evil 4
flaws.
es-
At least in Metal Gear Solid, I think about
Oh,
revisiting it now, and I
Espera,
think
se va
I
a quitar mi
should.
cámara
How
ahí.
many
No,
goddamn times have I played RE4 on this stream? I have never played through Metal Gear Solid on this stream. Maybe we'll see. I think with my current perspective, RE4 takes it over Metal Gear Solid 1. But that's really difficult, man. Tactics goes down quite a bit. I think we can pull tactics like down to here. But what should I replace
Sí,
tactics
Tactics.
with? That
digamos
seems
dos.
fair. FF7 Remake top 2. I'm even considering if FF7 Remake's going to make it to top 25. No,
No,
RE4
no.
Remake
Remake
doesn't
no.
make the list in total. Damn, there's a lot of fighting games up here. That starts to make sense that if I'm doing a top personal list that includes
Es
fighting
personal.
games, that a lot of fucking fighting games are up here. Where would RE2 Original go? RE2 Original easily makes it into like top 20 or some shit. And then FF, to be real, FF7 Remake definitely gets bumped up here quite a bit as well. Why do you prefer originals to remakes? Because of the impact of the time. Like what that game was when it came out, incredibly valuable. If you weren't there at the time, it's like then obviously RE4 Remake would be better than RE4, but were you alive in 2005 when RE4 came out? RE4 Remake is probably better than RE4 Classic.
Sí.
For sure. I was there when RE4 came out. and
No había nada
it
cerca de
felt
lo que
like we
parecía.
were living
Sí.
in the future. I think
Yo
Mega
lo-
Man 2
me lo
edges it
pasé
out just a little
por
bit.
segunda
We're
vez,
not
lo
worried about,
platiné
like, 25 right now. I'm
Resident
looking at
Evil
just 20. Oh, here's
Vanilla.
the problem with Monster Hunter World
Genial.
is that FF11 would be up here ahead of it. I'd probably put Soul Calibur 2 ahead of
Soul Calibur me
3,
encanta.
and I'd put MVC 1
Pero es el 2, ¿verdad?
ahead of
Sí
both
puso el
Soul
2.
Calibur
Sí.
and Tekken. But I would say that I think
Para mí
Killer
Tekken, o sea,
Instinct, of
Tekken
all,
es mi
like, the
favorito. Yo
modern
pondría
fighting
Tekken
games,
antes. Tekken
1,
3.
2, 3, 4, 5,
El
6,
tacto no me
7,
gusta.
8, 9. Yeah,
Pero
there's
siendo
two Killer
Street
Instincts
Fighter
up here,
3 es
bro.
mejor que Tekken
Returnal I don't think is in
3,
top
sí.
20 either. I can't in good faith put Returnal ahead of Sega Racing Classics. I'd put Monster Hunter ahead of Tactics. Crazy Taxi goes ahead of Returnal, just in general. I think I'm actually getting rid of Street Fighter 2. I
Street
don't
Fighter,
think
yes.
as time has gone on that Street Fighter 2 is clearly a game that has an impact on everybody, right? And
Sí.
is massive, but I feel like I have grown past it. Would not be up here anymore. I don't think I'm going to take it out of this list. It would just get bumped down. Call of Duty's up here. I don't think that's actually weird. COD 4, Modern Warfare 2. These games were incredible, man. Yeah, these are not really in a great order down here. But I will say, my top 15 is looking pretty decent. It also starts with Final Fantasy VII and ends with Final Fantasy VII. So let's just go over this again. Let me see how I feel about it.
Okay.
Number 1, FF7. Number 2, Third Strike. Number 3, Bloodborne. Number 4, PSO. Number 5, KI on SNES. RE4, Metal Gear Solid, Mega Man fucking 2, Panzer Dragoon 2's Vi, which is going to be a weird one.
Mega Man
because
nunca
a
les
lot of
o sea,
people
al del
don't
Game
know
Boy
this
fue el que
game,
más
but
le di. Me
you
encantó.
know, it's truly special to me. Killer Instinct 2013 and all of its versions, Marvel vs. Capcom, Soul Calibur 2, Tekken 3. Ooh, okay, this is a weird one. I'm having a tough time thinking if Final Fantasy 11. I mean, it took over my life. Yeah, it's essentially my Square Enix PSO. However, I would not have gotten into FF11 if Phantasy Star Online did not leave a giant gap. That's sort of the comparative I have. It's a great game, I think FF11 is truly like stands like the test of time. What it is will never exist again. But to me, like the only reason I jumped into FF11 is because I was looking for the evolution from PSO. But I don't think that deters from the experience. And I think I am way more comfortable with this game making it into this spot of the list than FF11 ended my top 15. Yeah,
Dance Dance Revolution.
I think I like
Okay.
that more. I think if I have a top 15 games of all time and
Pondría un juego
Dance
de
Dance
ritmo.
Revolution isn't up there for being
Probablemente
around
sí,
DDR
Guitar
in
Hero
like
3.
the 90s, like the late 90s, early
Legend
2000s,
of Rock, creo que se
and
llama.
growing up with that game was a huge part of my life.
También Pump It
for,
Up.
like a
Pump It
solid
Up lo podría
3
agregar.
years. It took only 3 years to get like 5 versions. So I got to get up. Dance Dance Revolution easily is in my top 15. What do I feel about any of these? I absolutely have a huge raging love interest for Sega racing games. They're all up here. I don't know if they're
No, para
in
mí
any specific order. In fact,
pondría Need for Speed, el 1,
Initial D ahead of Sega Rally,
Burned
to a
Out
certain degree.
2,
Outrun
3,
might be a
Burned
bit
Out
lower
3,
just in general. CODs are pretty close. I put Modern Warfare 2 edges out
Motor
COD 4
Storm,
to a certain degree. Initial
Pacific
D kind of represents
Reef.
Initial D stage 1, 2,
Creo que es mi
3.
favorito
But
todos.
yeah, like I hold Crazy Taxi in a really high regard. I put House of
Algún
the Dead
Mario
ahead
Kart.
of Call of Duty.
Probablemente.
Technically Daytona USA ahead of it too.
Ese House of the
I
Dead
changed
me
my mind.
encanta.
Initial D is technically the last one. I put more time into this, but I don't think it grabbed me nearly as much. Final Fantasy 11 is that high. Yeah, it's number 16 for me. This is feeling about right. I'd say my top 25 is a bit disjointed. This I'd really have to put some more thought
Pero-
into. This would take some.
Está hablando pues para gente bilingüe, ¿verdad? Soy idiota, yo. Soy idiota. Estoy entendiendo. Espero disfruten el video y cualquier feedback abajo. Frey, ponerle subtítulos por lo menos para que Maximilian se entienda lo que está diciendo. Sí.
Time. What you have here is I got a pretty confident, solid top 15. And